everyone. I'm Karen Holmes Ward, and welcome to CityLine. Everyone loves a good read, whether it's for a rainy day or a day on the beach. We have a couple of new options for your bookshelf and your e-reader. First up, Dr. Oneeka Williams of St. Elizabeth's in Brighton fell in love with medicine at a very young age. She now brings us her first children's book. It's called Dr. Dee Dee Dynamo's Mission to Pluto. Dr. Dee Dee Dynamo is a super surgeon on the go, just like Oneeka, encouraging young kids, especially young girls, to get interested in science. Let's welcome Dr. Oneeka Williams to the program. Hi.
Good morning.
Now tell me more about Dr. Dee Dee Dynamo and about her mission in the world.
Dr. Dee Dee Dynamo is a 9-year-old girl super surgeon who is intent on fixing anything that she can in the universe using her gifted hands. She's a character that I conceived of about 3 years ago, and really in response to a number of things. One is just encouraging girls and children in general about medicine and surgery and bringing a character that actually brought to kids this exposure to what surgeons do. Two was to introduce and find a platform for science education, bringing science in an engaging and fun way, intriguing science concepts to children at an early age, and so planting a seed that would hopefully spark their curiosity and interest in science.
Now, when was the seed planted for you and your interest in science? How old were you?
I was extremely young. I was very blessed to have a mother who was a science teacher and very passionate about science. I was born in Guyana and spent the first 10 years of my life there. And so from the time that I could remember, we were always exposed to all things scientific. Backyard experiments, we were reading. We did not have television at that time in Guyana, and so we were avid readers of books and exposed in multiple different ways and different levels to science and science education. And so the spark in my interest in science started very, very young, primarily because of my mom.
Now, is Dr. Dee Dee Dynamo somewhat autobiographical?
So Dr. Dee Dee, somewhat. I mean, I think Dr. Dee Dee really represents, you know, all of the women out there who are doing just incredible, powerful, interesting things that they're passionate about, a love of family, a love of learning, a love of science. But there are some parts of Dr. Dee Dee that does represent my journey.
Now, Kyle the koala,
yes,
is her pessimistic and grumpy sidekick assistant.
That is correct.
Who does Kyle the koala represent?
So Kyle represents, I think, all of those negative people, negative experience, naysayers. He represents that person or that, you know, societal value that does not allow us to, that limits us.
Somebody that tells the little girls, no, you can't be a doctor. You can't do that. You're not smart enough to go into the sciences.
Absolutely. Women don't do medicine. You can't get into medical school. And, you know, I would say for my Kyle, you know, I think when my very first exposure to you can't do something was when I arrived at Johns Hopkins University. I loved being at Johns Hopkins. It was a wonderful experience for me, but coming into Johns Hopkins intent on doing medicine as a young foreign student at the time, the pre-med advisor within the first week corralled all of the students who were interested in medicine because we had to be on point and on target for all the things we needed to get through in our pre-med activities. And she met with the foreign students independently because we were a special breed. And she said, well, you know, I just wanted to let you know that you will not get into an American medical school. I want to prepare you for that so that you can begin to plan to go back to the Caribbean to medical school. And I said, well, why would you say that? You don't know me. And she said, well, foreign undergraduate students do not get into American medical schools. You would have to be super extraordinary to succeed. And I just want to set your expectations. And so she was a Kyle. And I was happy to say that she was the first time I had ever heard that you can't do something. I grew up in an environment, and I think when we think about girls in science education, children in science education, it is so important to have that positive message of you can do anything. And this is the first time I had ever heard that you can't do something.
Now, so, Dr. Williams, I know you very well. As soon as she said no, all that did was light a fire under you to succeed.
Absolutely. She said no, and I said, well, I will show you. And I did not go back to see her until I was getting ready to graduate from Johns Hopkins undergraduate school. at a university and had gotten into every medical school that I had applied to. And that was my Kyle at that time.
That's great.
I've encountered many others since then.
But of course, you just steam past
My
them now.
response is always the same. Yes, I can.
Now, Dr. Dee Dee Dynamo is a wonderful character for teaching young girls and young kids of color that they can.
That's right.
How do you hope parents will be able to use this book and teaching their young children to move forward and advance like you have?
I think that my hope is that this will be an interactive experience for many parents and their children. It is recommended for children 6 to 10, but the characters, the illustrations, and the overall message of the book is also appropriate for younger children. And my hope is that parents will engage with their children, they will read, and they will talk about the messaging of what Dr. Dee Dee represents, about her not even the sky is the limit messages, that they will see the parental and the family involvement and the importance of the family providing messages of positivity for their children, that they will see the platform of interesting scientific concepts. Even for parents and adults, there are some people who still don't know that Pluto is a dwarf planet. And so it's engaging for the parents as well, providing learning opportunities for them, and with them being engaged, will so also engage their children, and I think be able to have a conversation about what Dr. Dee Dee brings to, to reading, brings to science, and brings to overall how we view ourselves and how our children view ourselves, and how we reinforce those images that are going to be important for our kids to really advance and achieve.
Where can people get the book?
The book is available through the publisher website, which is, I have a website, www.dddynamo.com, and through that the mascot publishers can be accessed. It's also available on Barnes & Noble online, as well as Amazon, both in the Kindle e-version as well as the printed copy.
Very good. Thank you very much. Don't forget, everybody, find Dr. Dee Dee Dynamo's Mission to Pluto on one of the venues that Dr. Williams just mentioned. She's a dynamo herself. Thanks for joining us today. Up next, a spectacular look at Mumbai, India.